Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great privilege and pleasure to introduce His Excellency, Future Excellency Adam Thompson. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I head off to Islamabad as the next British High Commissioner in the third week of January, with your instructions to bring at least regional, if not world peace, sort out the British visa system, and be the greatest ambassador that Britain has ever sent to Pakistan. So, no pressure then. The more immediate pressure I am feeling is that Javed Raja asked me to speak for about 30 minutes. It's 2 minutes past 10 right now, and you were promised your food 2 minutes ago. So I will try and make what was about 15 minutes worth of remarks something like 8, if that's acceptable. I have to start with thanks in a number of different directions. First of all, to you, the participants, for sitting here and waiting. It's a fantastic turnout, and I'm deeply honoured and grateful. Secondly, to Javed Raja. He's asked me to signal his distinguished academic credentials, among other things. I would rather flag Javed's energy and positive attitude, his wish for stronger UK-Pakistan relations, and what he is doing to set up Peace International. I am truly grateful to you, Javed. I'm truly grateful to you for making this happen, to you and those others who have been involved in putting together this event. I also have to offer a word of thanks to the Foreign Office, the Prime Minister and the Queen for letting me take on this absolutely fantastic job. And to Robert Brinkley, my predecessor, who I know is bequeathing me an absolutely first-class diplomatic mission in Islamabad. I know that because I have worked with them every single day for the last 3.5 years. And finally, a word of thanks to the person who looked me up and down earlier this evening and commented, maybe it's just me, but High Commissioners are looking younger every year. I want to say, as briefly as I can, something about Pakistan and how I see it, something about the UK-Pakistan relationship and what I hope to achieve within it over the next 3 years. And finally, a few thoughts about the British Pakistani community. This is a pretty high-risk undertaking, especially commenting on the British Pakistani community, but I hope you will understand that I am between jobs at the moment, so I am neither the Director in the Foreign Office for South Asia, nor yet the British High Commissioner, and my remarks are entirely personal, and I look forward to being further educated by you all. Pakistan, yes, a challenge, but there are some things that it is very easy to say about this country, which I have visited often. It is a simply wonderful place. Through trials and tribulations, its culture has remained vibrant, its sense of nationhood resilient, and its potential absolutely enormous. I don't think that Pakistanis celebrate these facts enough. It's going to be a huge privilege working with this wonderful country. It's a country that rightly has a great sense of pride in itself and in its faith. It's got great dignity. It attaches rightly great importance to its sovereignty. It has enormous warmth and hospitality at every social level. It's wonderful, but it does also face some very substantial challenges. We've heard about some of them this evening. I'm not going to start, in fact, with the challenge of violent extremism. I think Pakistan will live through that and will deal with it. But there are some other challenges that I think it is good for Pakistanis to lift their sights to. I think first about the demographics. 170 million people today. On UN estimates, in 40 years' time, 335 million people. Think of the implications of that for governance, for education, for jobs, for infrastructure, for water. Is Pakistan ready? There are global challenges that Pakistan faces like other countries. For example, climate change. Half of all Himalayan glaciers will be significantly reduced by 2050, even at temperature rises below the predicted 4 degrees. And the implications of that for Pakistan's water supplies are pretty grave. And there are the regional challenges you've talked about this evening, so many of you, above all, the India and Pakistan relationship. That state of tension and those two countries are possibly running out of time to find approaches that are good for both of them. I don't think, in fact, that the UK is necessarily the ideal international actor for trying to resolve a post-colonial situation in which we had some hand. But I do know that I and my mission and my government stand ready to help to advance things towards win-win outcomes for India and Pakistan, rather than the zero-sum games that have been played too often. Such progress would unlock so much human and economic potential for both countries, and it would be so stabilizing. It would be so good for us in the UK too. But there are, of course, other immediate challenges, and the violent extremism that Pakistan is facing is absolutely wrenching. The sacrifices of Pakistan's armed forces are really admirable. The patience of internally displaced civilians as the state of Pakistan squares up to one of the violent extremist groupings on its territory is impressive. And I just want to say that my thoughts, and I know that of all my colleagues in Whitehall, my thoughts and condolences go to the families and the victims of the many recent attacks. I fear the United Kingdom would not be so resilient in the face of such atrocities. There are no easy, quick or single answers to the threat to Pakistan's well-being from violent extremist groups. But the majority of the population are now mobilized against the Pakistan Taliban. The quality of follow-through in terms of governance and political leadership is going to be critical, but it will have British and international support. Let me say a little bit about UK-Pakistan relations and the bilateral relationship. The UK can help, if it's wanted, in almost every area. Every time I start up my Foreign Office computer, up comes the FCO mission statement, which says, "Better world, better Britain." It's easy to be cynical about a slogan about that, but I do actually know from working on the inside of British foreign policy for over 30 years that the UK's foreign policy under successive governments has been driven by the search for win-win solutions. What's good for other countries is generally good for Britain.